This week on the show, we're doing our Flashpoint review. That's right, the newest Living Story dropped like a ton of bricks, and we'll let you know if we feel like they hit it out of the park or if it was a swing and a miss. We also have what we call news, and did I mention we're doing this live? At least we found Casimir on Shadow of the Dragon. Welcome to Shadow of the Dragon. This is episode number 40, and we are live.
Woo!
Whee!
Live. It's alive.
So, yeah, we didn't want to miss out on the Living Story hype train. Every other podcast did their little review, so we're doing our show a week early. So how you guys? Oh, wait a minute. I forgot I have a snazzy intro.
Oh, snap.
So, joining me tonight, she fought back a few expletives when Balthazar showed up. It's Cora!
I mean, I am going to say that that's true. That is true. But they're like core expletives, so it probably involved saying something about, peanut butter.
Nice. And he didn't even notice Balthazar, but he sure saw Jory's Delacroix. It's Gallios!
I sure did.
That was terrible.
It was great.
You're
that
fired.
was a fantastic intro, bro. Thanks.
Usually is. When I got one. So what you guys been up to? It's only been a week.
What have I been up to? I don't know. But I would like to introduce everyone to my Sanctum Sanctorum here in the background. It just looks like a utility room, but that up there, that's really the time machine. And the thing down there, that's really, that's absolutely nothing. It's washer and dryer. But I just been playing a little bit of game and a little bit of World v World. Not a lot of stuff. I actually did more PvE this time. And let's see. Oh, today I actually ran around a little bit with Shelby, me, and Zeller. God, I think I got that right. Don't be mad at me if I got it wrong. No, we did Cauticus story mode today for Shelby. She needed to get that one done. So that's what I did. That's pretty much it because I didn't have a whole lot of time to play this week.
Nice. Cora, how about you?
I have only hopped in game a little bit because I also have been kind of busy and not had a lot of time. But I hopped in enough to get a gift that somebody gave me, and it's Lys's mirror. So I wound up heading over to my favorite spot to take screenshots, which is in the Grove, and just took a bunch of screenshots with my Necro and her Lys's mirror focus because it's so pretty.
Yeah, one of the podcast listeners and guild member, right? Token. Yep.
Yes.
Bought us all a present. So, Gallios, what'd you get?
I got Rox's outfit. Is what I got.
Shame on you.
Well, I didn't want the mirror, and I have a lot of the other stuff. And so I told Token, who would not take no for an answer. You know, we were very appreciative and tried to turn it down, but we weren't allowed to. So the good Cajun boy in me that was brought up said you should not refuse a gift, and I remembered that at the last minute, so I took that, and that's what I was sent, and it's fantastic. It looks fantastic. I'm already wearing it on Gallios, my ranger, so it looks awesome.
No, I kid. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. You need to mute appear in there, Mr. Gallios guy.
Oh, so sorry.
Go ahead, Cora. Sorry.
I was going to say, I also had that first reaction of like, no, don't get me anything. You don't need to do that. And then remembered, like, if they didn't want to, they wouldn't be giving it's a gift. Like, I think as kids, we're so good at accepting gifts, and then we get to be adults, and it's so hard. But I'm trying to work on getting better at in life and with Guild Wars. If people want to give me a gift, thank you. I will appreciate and love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's not much in the gem store that I want. I have my Super Adventure Box glider. I have my Glidertron. And I don't really do outfits, so I just got keys. And I got a pretty decent haul. I got a short bow chaos skin out of it from Guaranteed Wardrobe Unlock and bunch of Ecto that I gambled and made more Ecto. And a couple other things. So it was a good haul. But he inspired me. I bought some more keys, and I finally got my elemental sword.
Excellent.
Yeah, after a crap load of tries, so...
Yeah, now I just have to get the cool stag armor, and then we could look like brothers.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got the ball cap?
I do not, but I can get the ball cap. So I have enough to get the ball cap if I want the ball cap, so I can get the ball cap.
Good man.
So, by the way, Romo, no, I'm sorry, buddy. I am all completely out of scotch. So it is just a little Jim Beam double barrel. That's what it is tonight.
I mean, that's good. I'm out of alcohol. No, I shouldn't say that. I do have one thing of alcohol. I think it's called Sweet Revenge. It is like a strawberry liqueur. It is pink. It's very pink. And it is the first thing that ever gave me a hangover. I don't know why I even have a bottle of this stuff. It's very pink and very sweet. I'm not drinking that. No. Bad things would happen on the rest of the show if I drank that
I have
tonight.
lots of liquor in my cabinet, but I try not to drink every night if I can help it. You know, this is just relaxes me. So, you know, again, I was a little nervous. I know it's me. I can't believe I'm nervous, but I was a little nervous. So, you know, I figured I'd drink a little.
It's all good. So, Cora, what else have you been up to? Were you finished?
Yeah, that was it. Otherwise, I need to get back to working on my achievement things. Yeah.
Well, I have to say that I'm disappointed in you both. You're slackers.
Why? Because we didn't replay the story?
I made 2 legendaries and liturgy in a week.
Yeah, I saw that.
I cannot roll my eyes back far enough into my head. And they can see me trying on Twitch.
Well,
no, I'm so proud of you.
It's not fair because I was mostly done. I was working on Flameseeker Prophecies, decided that I was going to cut that short and do... What is this show about? This show's about Guild Wars 2. Anyway, we're doing our review of the living story. Anyway, I had most of my mats done. I was working on the gift of the precursor. So I stopped that, made Sunrise, made Eternity, and was done. And then I also made Liturgy, which is a little underwhelming. But I
thought it was going to look huge on the Norn, but it really doesn't.
Well,
it just looks like a mace with candles on it.
That's a pre. I believe that the Flames of War is much, much bigger. It better be, or else I'm going to be out of a lot of gold and mats and not a happy guy. So,
I mean, after you're like, what, your 5th legendary, how hard is it to make them?
That was number 11 that I finished.
After your 9th legendary, how hard is it to make
them? Well, Chuka
them?
was number 9. That one was hard. I hated that one. But I have to say, I made Liturgy in under an hour. It is the new Heart of Thorns precursor crafting is just, you just throw a crap ton of Elderwood and Mithril at it, as well as you have to buy for that it was Shards of Liturgy or something like that you buy with Bloodstone Magic. So it went really quick. It's just a crap ton of materials. And it was a bunch of T4 or T5 bloods that I had to use. So it went really quick.
Mean, I still haven't gotten past the 2nd tier on anything. So, but I have like
bad. Yeah, Crowley,
5 or 6 of them unlocked. Yeah, I just don't ever finish anything.
So yeah, that, and I tried to do my 2nd playthrough of Flashpoint. I usually play through twice when I do the living story reviews, just in case I missed anything. And I got up to, I just finished the last druid, so that was it. Yeah, I just want to say, Crowley, you're right. I need a legendary longbow for my guardian or for my warrior, and I can't do Kudzu. Can't do it.
Yeah, me either. Romo
Kudzu
reads me like a book. He's exactly right. I can't do Kudzu for Gallios. He doesn't look like it. And Crawl, yes, Gallios actually was originally from Jedi, from Sotor was my Jedi's name, and I just transferred it over here because I figured it was a name that nobody else would have, and it was first try. So
good man.
So that was on my. I guess he would be considered a guardian type Jedi in Sotor. Yes. So you kind of nailed that too. But still, it's a pretty badass name for my ranger too. So.
All right. Anything else about game? No.
Nope.
That's it.
Nope.
That's all we did. You guys are slackers.
Yeah,
it's only been a week since the last show. What did you want us to do?
I made 2 legendaries and a precursor. No excuse.
Yeah, he did it in like 2 hours, so it's not like you played a whole bunch. You dropped a whole bunch of money and you did a whole bunch of crap like that.
I did. I bought the Spiritwood shards and the Delgamore steel because it just wasn't.
I know you all too well, my brother. I know you all too well.
All right. Well,
I got sent gold. So I'm not in the single digit anymore.
I'm in Korra League right now with gold. I think I'm at 460 gold. I'm like beyond poor right now.
Shut your face. Shut your ugly face right now.
That's so mean.
That's just rude. That's just rude.
So
You're
mean.
just rubbing it in. Because somebody gifted me 65 gold, I now have 68 gold.
Good.
Nice.
All right. Well, with that, we are going to take a quick break, and we are going to come back with what we call news. And we're back.
Yay!
Yay! All right, so there wasn't a whole lot of news in the past week, but the first bit of news is thank you to Dagny/Sylvia for pointing this out. I have a retraction to make. Number 2. Only the second one I've ever made, so not too bad. So it appears that there was never really any comment on the Series 3 legendaries, and when I went through the summary, I kind of mashed the announcement that there would be no more legendary armors and made the assumption that since we're going to be going into Living Story Season 4 and still waiting for all the Series 2 legendaries, I just made the connection that there were no more legendary weapons being made, and Dagny didn't have a problem telling me that I was wrong. So,
thank you, Dagny.
Way to go, Dagny.
So there's my retraction. So that's that. Okay. Next bit of real news that we have is the NCSoft's earning report for first quarter came out, and not surprisingly, Guild Wars 2 has declined quite a bit. So it's down to 14,226 billion, whatever, earned or taken or however they do it. So just by way of comparison, for first quarter of 2016, it was at 30,557. So it has halved. Now, you could say a lot of those earnings were due to the release of Heart of Thorns, which came out in October. But it's definitely way down. Thoughts?
It's sad. It's sad. I think it's just a lull, of course, but it's still sad. It's just a lot of people who are dissatisfied right now, and that's just how it is.
There's not a lot in the gem store to buy. Like for me, I don't get excited about stuff in the gem store. I really don't, and that's really their only revenue stream right now. So, I mean, it is at the end of the expansion cycle, so. I think that this is typical. I do have to say that it's amazing how many people on Reddit are experts in MMO revenues and earnings and trends and how it works for WoW and everybody else and how normal it is and how nobody should ever bring it up. But that's just my salt. So, but yeah, it's there.
Yeah. It'll make a comeback. It'll bounce back.
Yeah.
It'll bounce back.
It will.
I'm confident.
It will. Well,
especially when the next expansion comes out.
yeah, I have some thoughts about expansions and stuff and whatnot, but
you have thoughts about everything, Gord.
Of course I do. That's why I do a
Saying
podcast.
I have thoughts about something is not a shocker statement.
Yeah, Garaz, stop the gliders. Give us armor pieces, but not in the gem shop. I will not pay gems for armor. That's just stupid.
I would pay gems for armor.
No, that's a bad idea.
I mean, I feel like there should definitely be new armor sets being put in the game, but I would still pay our gem for our armor.
If it was equal. If there was an equal balance of what you could get in game that looked good and specialized like rocks armor and stuff like that, specialized outfits that were released as armor, that I do support. But
what I think is there should be a new set of tiered cultural armor.
Mm-hmm.
I would love there to be a new set for the I can't remember what they're called. So like you had the Priory, you had the Vigil, and you had the Order of Whispers. I would love to see a new set of armor come out from them, and maybe like pack armor. I know the pack is sort of not what it was going, ending the fight with Zaitan and going into Heart of Thorns, but it still exists. I mean, what's his face is going to go lead it, so yeah, Kieran. So not Kieran, that's his great grandfather, Logan. So I think it would be cool if they did like, here's pack armor and you can earn it this way, and then like you said, and then you can have special armor sets in the gem store. Like if that's where you want to have rocks and that's where you want to have Bram, then yeah, put those armor sets in the gem store. I'll still buy them. But I haven't bought any of the outfits that came out this past Living Story season. So,
yeah, I mean, my only 2 cents there is, like I said, if they are releasing the same amount of in-game armors that we can get just by playing, then that's fine. But I would probably never pay for armor in the gem shop. I think that's kind of poo-poo, but that's my opinion.
I don't know. I'd probably do it.
Of course you would.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to throw my gems at them fast enough. As long as it was like good armor that I liked, yeah.
We give Gord diarrhea sometimes, just to.
It's just
sometimes.
Silly.
I mean, it's like a nightly goal for me.
I really do feel that they should change how they do their billing model. They really should, and there's too much pressure on the gem store. Is just my opinion. So, whatever, we'll see. But I will say one more time. 14,226 billion yen or whatever the hell it is over in Korea. That's down half in a year, but again, all the experts on Reddit had said that that's normal and we should just listen to them, All right, so the last thing that I have for what we call news is Dolvik, one of our listeners and friends of the guild. I believe he's in the guild as well. He reached out to me on Discord in a private message, and he had a couple good points. So in regards to leaks, we had said last week that we will not cover leaks anymore because of the severity of the last leak and how much it did expose. But I did admit, like I always will, that if somebody says there's a leak out there, I'm going to go take a look at it because I peek at my presence. But anyway, Dolvik brought up a good point that, that could influence how we cover the show. It can influence our opinion on things. It can influence our speculation on things and everything else. So I just wanted to touch base on that and just say, if we're doing speculation and I see something that is a confirmed leak, I just won't speculate on it anymore. I think that's fair. And I think everybody here Gord doesn't look at leaks. Gallios, I don't know. But I think we stay objective enough where if we did see something, we would still get our hands on the product, play it before we made some kind of final decision. So just a little bit of clarification on what we said. We will not acknowledge leaks here anymore, but I peek in my presence, Mo. That's what I do. So
I do not. I leave them nicely wrapped, and then
do you buy? You pay for your own presents?
I mean, I have occasionally.
No, I mean, exactly. The whole presents analogy was silly, in my opinion.
I thought it was fine because, like, not even 5 minutes beforehand, you had said peeking at presents, and then Mo said presents.
No,
and it's the same sort of metaphor.
If you weren't knitting, you would have heard me say, I peek at my presents.
I know,
Mo.
I know. I heard you.
Right.
I heard you. I just choose to.
So anyway, that's that. So that's the last bit of leak coverage we're going to have. I will look at leaks because it is my responsibility as a podcast host to look at leaks and, you know, talk in DMs with my friends on Twitter.
You keep talking that BS.
But anyway, that's that. So it was a good point that Delvik brought up, and I just wanted to share it with everybody and just say that's what it is. But I think everybody that makes content in the community has pretty much said the same thing. If something comes out, there's no sense in really speculating on it anymore. I would never read ahead and get information and then try and present it as my own theory, so I could just be like, oh yay, I'm great, because I made a lot of pretty whatever Garros. I made a lot of predictions, including the 6.
I think I like Garros.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, including the 6, but I was wrong on just about everything else, which was that. So that's that. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
Cora, no stealth news?
No stealth news.
No white hacking? No?
No stealth news.
That face.
None for me either. I think I had some at the beginning of the week, but by the time I got to like Wednesday or Thursday, poof.
It was gone, huh?
Gone.
All right. Well, that's that. That's what we call news. It's a short one because it's only been a week since our last show. So
I know. It's really weird.
It is.
Yep.
All right. So obligatory spoiler warning. When we come back from the break, we are jumping headfirst into Flashpoint, giving our thoughts in depth and detail. So if you haven't beat it, which I don't understand how you could not have beaten it by now, but if you did not beat it, you're going to want to leave the stream and listen later when you do beat it. So with that, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. And we're back. All right, so usually what we do is we go through the story first, and we're not doing that this time. I want to start with the map just because I have very conflicted feelings about the story. So map, Draconis Mons. What do you guys think?
I think I dropped a stitch. I'm putting my knitting aside. The map. It was interesting. There's so many little subs. Okay, so it's tiered in a way that almost reminds me of the Grove.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a pretty section, and there's like the fiery death section.
It's been referred to as Tangled Depths 2.0.
Yeah, I can see that. It's different.
I didn't mind it. It wasn't that bad. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it as much as I liked it. What's the winter one?
Bitterfrost? You like Bitterfrost more?
I like the forest part of Bitterfrost.
But okay, that's like 1% of the map.
Hey, shh. Shh. I'm gonna shush you like my granny. Shh. Shh. Okay. I like the forest part of Bitterfrost. I didn't really care for the map as much as I thought I would, because I just one of those leaks that you talked about, I think somebody mentioned it early on in the day. The spoiler, not a leak. Spoiler early on in that day before I got to play it, and I was like expecting a lot more than I got in there, and I was like, it's all right, but it's not horrible. It's just not great. I like Lake Doric better.
Yeah, Lake Doric was cool, but I love the map. The map was just as rich in lore in Guild Wars 1 lore as Lake Doric was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel it was really Tangled Depths 2.0. I could kind of see it, maybe 1.5, but I have more trouble getting through Tangled Depths than I did Draconis Mons. So, so that's it. That's what everybody's got.
Yeah.
New mastery, Cora. Did you love it?
I'm just gonna
Already had this convo, so I know exactly what she's gonna say.
move on right past that comment.
It's a hook shot.
It's the exact same mastery point system. It's boring.
Movement.
It's boring.
No way.
I would
dude.
love.
No
I would
way.
love to be super cheerful me about it. It's the exact same thing I already talked about last show. I didn't like blah blah blah. He's all fucking Gord.
You're killing me.
I just wish they. And this is where I'm trying to be super cheerful, Cora. And I'm like, I just wish they had thought that system through more.
It is just a movement mastery, but this one's much better compared to the others because not only does it move you around the map, it can move you up layers of the map. It can move you past on the same plane, and you can also use it as a kickstart for gliding. So it's definitely more versatile than the torches and every whatever else we had in the other maps. I don't remember.
There was like heat vents and
lava tubes were still there.
tubes.
I did think the uniqueness of it was kind of cool, but I do have to kind of lean a little bit on another side too, to what Cora said. Like, they should have just kind of added it on as the third, instead of having to do a whole nother set of masteries, just be in the same mastery group, and then just add it as a new layer.
Like what you were just saying, Gord, like this one's cooler because it can do all these other things besides just map travel. Like it can launch you. Like, why couldn't that have been part of the system? Like tier 1 is, okay, you can use the tubes to travel. And then the next tier is you can use some of the special tubes that launch you into gliding. And then the next tier, oh, these things do this other additional, instead of, oh, it's a map travel. Oh, it's a map travel. Okay, well, what's it? Oh, it's another map travel. Like, that's where I was just... So coming into this new map, I was like, it's going to be the exact same thing. The fact that you're telling me it's not just goes to show I didn't even bother to unlock it because I'm like, I get around the maps just fine without the map travel. Why waste the mastery points?
I did love the way it helped get around that map, because otherwise it was a pain in the butt.
Because just backing up in chat, Kate agrees with Cora, and Inks did bring up that it's pretty much crappy to get around the map without it, and I agree, because when I beat it the first time, I didn't have it, and it kind of stunk. Because I just ran through because I was so excited for the story. What does that say
about your map design? If the map is more fun to play, if you're not running around the map,
it's a good map design. It makes the mastery irrelevant.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, there's other ways around. You can jump off in the middle, and there's plenty of updrafts if all you have is your advanced gliding. So. Well,
yeah, but like, there's one thing between, okay, here's mushrooms that bounce you up and down levels. Here's gliding so that you can glide around in the air. But there's another to be like, here's a little thing, and we're just going to port you from this section to this section over here, so that way you don't have to run through any of the map, see any of the landscape, fight any of the AI. You're just instant porting around the map. Like, what does that say about the map? That it's definitely more fun when you don't have to walk around it like that. I feel like that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah. I liked it.
I kind of did too. I kind of liked it. Once I got it, I wasn't sure what the hell those things on the ground were, but then I did Spider-Man for the first time. I was like, oh crap.
But what's the difference at that point between them and a waypoint? Like, I mean, the waypoint's obviously, okay, you can save and go over there, whereas these things, you have to run to it and it ports you to the next one, ports you to the next one. But at that point, like, it's just a waypoint light. You just didn't give me the option to open a map and say, oh, I want to go right here to that waypoint. Now I have to run to a tube and have the tube send me there.
But it's so... You could take the thing, right? You take the hook shot. I don't even know what the hell it's called. And you can hook shot your way to the tube, land in the tube, bounce and fly through the air, pop your glider, and it's It's like Tony Hawk in Guild Wars 2. Pull an ollie, reverse ollie, nosedive, Christ Air. I liked it. I thought it was good.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't have enjoyed it. I'm just saying it. To me, I didn't. But maybe I'll go and I'll work on it.
You should. You should. This one was definitely fun, and I can understand what you mean, but get used to it because I think every map is going to have specialized masteries because it's like the carrot on the stick. You need something to kind of time gate the map. It's going back to that artificial difficulty because you could probably at this level with elite specs, the way, how strong Condi meta is, you can run through the entire map. So they have to gate it. They have to. So,
see, I'm just not. I think that's part of the reason why I'm not a fan of them is because it makes the map more difficult. Like people are saying, oh, it's more fun with it. Whereas you go to the original Quarteria maps and you can run around and they're replayable. They're big. And if you're looking to make maps replayable, why not drop in new world bosses? Like World Boss Train used to be a thing. I don't know if it still is. I would imagine to some people it still is. Like, why not put new world bosses in? Why not do other things to make the map interesting and make people want to go back to it versus the dailies versus, oh, here's these unique map tube travel system.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, to each their own. I think it would have been much better if they did build on each other, and because it stunk that you can only use the Bloodstone Fen masteries, the Leyline Gliding attack combo, which was one of the better masteries. You can only use that in Bloodstone Fen. You can use it in Lake Doric in the Leyline streams. You can't use it in Ember Bay as far as I recall.
And that's what I'm saying. Like they should have been layered in and tiered, so that way. And like I said, if you're trying to time gate that mastery system, then fine. The next tier comes out with the next chapter release.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I liked it. So, any other thoughts on the map? Did you guys start working on the Druid backpack? The Druid
backpack.
I haven't played enough.
No.
Yeah. I've looked at it. I haven't started it.
I kind of blew through it. In fact, I blew through it so fast, I was pissed off that I blew through it so fast. I think I finished it in like an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Once I got in there, and I was kind of like, that's it?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even really that hard. The fight with Bal, but I guess are we letting that out yet?
Yeah, there's no spoilers.
Okay, the fight with Balthazar at the end. I mean, that was a piece of cake. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me a little bit just to figure out, like, okay, what am I doing? What's the mechanic of it? But yeah, it wasn't especially challenging. I like that I was accidentally getting the achievements for that story chapter. Like, I started seeing them like, oh, here's the chest for the achievement. I was like, I wasn't even attempting to get them. And then I had the last one where it was like, turn on all the emergency sprinklers. And I was like, oh, shoot, he's about to go down. I'm not going to be able to get it in time, but I'll try. And then he went down and I could still get the achievement. So I was like, all right, this is actually really easy to get. I appreciate that for once.
It was easy to miss, though.
It was easy to miss, but it was, if you paid attention to it, it was easy to get. And Balthazar could be down and you could still get that final achievement. So, seeing as how, like I said, I'm going back and working on season 2 achievements and they're slightly challenging.
Yeah, a lot more challenging.
Yeah, it's sort of a nice change of pace to have ones that I'm like, okay, they didn't mean that only elite players can get all of them. Like, I can actually go in and have some fun. So that was fun. But yeah, it was quick. It didn't take me long to get through the story. Very quickly, I could kind of see what was about to come, and I was like, please don't let it be. Please don't let it be. Ew.
It was. Yeah. All right. Are we transitioning the story now? Are we done with the map?
Yeah.
Transition to story, Bubba.
Get to the good stuff.
Get the meat and taters.
All right. So, like we always do, we'll start at the beginning of the story. I don't remember how it started. Oh, Tommy calls you because she's about to use her machine, and we go back to Rhoda Novus. So We run into the chaos, as always, when there's a Sura in charge of something. So there really wasn't too much to that. I was pretty shocked how quickly they revealed who Lazarus really was. Who was he, Cora?
Balthazar.
So you cut out. I'm sorry. Who was it?
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not saying, and I think I said this in past episodes, I was like, I think because I feel this way, I'm probably wrong. And I hope they can pull it off. Here's what I'm afraid of. I don't want to play Nightfall Tyria Edition.
Oh, yes.
We have already done a Fallen God story. That was the entire Guild Wars 1. Prophecies, factions, Nightfall. It was all about Abaddon trying to gain power, to break back into the mortal realm, to be a god again.
All right, so well, now, that's fine. Let's stick to where we are in the story.
Well, that's what it ties into for me, is now we're in Guild Wars 2. The whole thing has been about the gods leaving, and now gods are back.
Yeah.
Here's also one of my feelings about where I'm... In Guild Wars 1, the human gods were gods. They were these magical, mystical gods. They brought humans here, they built a Ra, they caused all sorts of problems, but they were gods in the classical, mythological sense. And then you get into Guild Wars 2, and the gods have left Tyria. They have retreated from the world. Where are they? We don't know. Okay, that's fine. You look at all the other races and their religions. Char are atheists. They don't believe in gods anymore because Titans fooled them. People who spend their time worshiping religion are fools. Spend your time working on real life things. That is a belief people have in our real world. You go to the Asura and they have the belief in the, oh God, I can't even think right now. I'm so flustered.
Eternal alchemy.
Thank you. The eternal alchemy. So they believe in the eternal alchemy, which is not a god specifically. It is the philosophy of how all things are connected. We're all part of the same machine. You go to the Sylvari, and they're more like Buddhist philosophy. Like they have, here's the set of rules set by an actual person that we know. We can reference them in historical documents, and it is more just a philosophy on how to live your life. You go to the humans, and they had real gods that you could believe in. Like nobody could prove them anymore, but they were real gods. And suddenly ArenaNet is coming in and saying, well, we're bringing them back into the game. And maybe the gods aren't real gods anymore. Like maybe they're like what Gord says. Like you're taking away some of that element of magical to them. Like, are you really destroying the entire religion of an entire race? You're saying that they're nothing better than Mersat at the worst or Exalted at the best. That's super disappointing to me. I liked the element of all the religions, all the races' ideas about religions are true to an aspect, and you just destroyed it. I'm purposely not looking at the chat.
I said you're wrong. I said you're wrong in chat because the 6 were never meant to be in the background, never seen again, never. From Guild Wars 1, I knew at some point the 6 were coming back into the story. And I thought it was going to be with Nightfall at that point, which kind of it was. Cormyr became a god, and that's the only god that we ever saw in Guild Wars 1. But I always knew that the gods were going to come back. They were too critical in the human-centric story, and you guys could call it Saul all you want. It's just elementary to me.
It's elementary to me. My name is Gord.
I'll let you finish. So anyway, what it comes down to is there's a bigger picture. The eternal alchemy is always referred to, but there's a bigger thing called the all that is the basis of, I guess the eternal alchemy is like a subset of the all. It's not exactly the same. It's more spiritual than mathematical. But even in the all, there is always 6. 6 is always the number. There was too many correlations between the dragons in the beginning. There was only 5 known dragons until Colin opened his big mouth in Gamescom 2010 and told us about the jungle dragon. And then, or maybe 2012, I don't remember when it was. But as soon as he said that, then I knew there was immediately a correlation with the 6.
There was a character in Court or Tyria. There was a char that referenced 5 against 6.
I don't remember that. But anyway.
He's in the Priory. He's in the German Priory.
We went through
It's a char. She's a char.
we went through 2 campaigns in Guild Wars 1 thinking there was only 5 gods. Third campaign, we found out there was a 6. So that always kind of rang with me. So I always kind of felt that the 6 were going to come back. Now, what Balthazar is doing right now, I don't know if we're seeing the fall of a god similar to Abaddon, similar to Doom and everything else, but we don't even know if it's Balthazar. I really think that there's still a 50-50 chance that we get the old Scooby-Doo double unmasking, because what are we going on?
Yeah, I hope that it's not the real Balthazar, but at that point, like, there's a part of me that's like, why are we getting so convoluted with the story? like you said, the Scooby-Doo double unmasking. Well, at what point, like, hey, why not like a quadruple unmasking? Let's really screw it with them.
It could be though, because
it could be Balthazar, and maybe he's not fallen. Like, maybe he's not working against us. Maybe there's something we just don't know yet. And that's the twist.
Yeah, we'll come back to that, but when we get to Balthazar at the end, yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, like I was said at the start, I just don't want it to be Nightfall Tyria edition. Well,
brace yourself, girly.
I know.
Brace yourself. We'll get to that though. All right, so the next big thing that happened in this section was Casimir came back.
Yeah, Casimir. Her outfit's pretty.
Her outfit is pretty.
I almost want to buy it. But
I was hoping she would step in front of the mirrors and break her own illusion, and she'd be there buck naked.
Don't you.
Her decoupage shall disappear.
Seriously, that's where you're going.
Anyway, she came back and was like, hey, somebody actually wanted to join Dragon's Watch. I was amazed and surprised that somebody actually wanted to join Dragon's Watch. That was the first one since Timey, I think. So anyway,
Fox wanted to join, but she didn't want to abandon Bram in his hour of uber darkness.
In his hour of being corrupted, which is now over because Jormag went back to sleep.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
We'll find out in the next chapter what's going on with him.
All right, so no, we won't. So anyway, that's going to be expansion. Anyway, she comes out and is like, hey, where were you? You know, well, Jory comes in and they have their little lover spat and everything else. And then she's like, oh, well, you missed the thing in Divinity's Reach, the war in Divinity's Reach. And Casimir's like, yeah, I was playing Human Lie Detector. Now that line kind of pissed me off, because here is somebody who can obviously portal anywhere in Tyria that she desires. And she couldn't portal from the basement up to the Queen's room to help out. I mean,
so something else was probably going on then.
Yeah, she showed up to identify Balthazar. That was her only role in the story.
No, we don't. Yeah. Maybe we'll find out later on that something else was happening and that she just can't tell us, like some top secret thing. Like
she was a human lie detector for Anise. She told us she was playing human lie detector for Anise in the dungeons of Divinity's Reach.
Well, maybe they're really far down and she couldn't hear the battle.
Okay, well, she was in Divinity's Reach and just said, poof, let's go to Rada Novus. That's a little bit outside of the portal range for you and me if we play a Mesmer. Right?
Yeah, well, maybe she didn't just poof the portal from here to there.
She did.
I don't recall.
Well, she just showed up. We don't know where she portaled from, but she's been working for Anise.
It doesn't say she portaled from the other side of the continent.
But you can assume that because Anise was doing that in the last chapter. She was teleporting from the front line in Lake Doric to Cordicus's mansion, and then teleporting back and forth. She could have done
portal hopping.
Okay, that's fine. She portaled in. She had a little lover spat, and the first time that I played, it seemed like they were kind of like, okay, Casimir was like, okay, you screwed up, but, it's okay. I love you and everything's good. And, you're my girlfriend again and everything's fine.
I didn't read that.
What up, boo?
Yeah. She was only mad that she didn't get a choice to go with Jory. Jory just went off and threw herself in the lion's den. That was the first time through.
Okay, and what did you see the second time through so that I can tell you're wrong?
If you go back and talk to Jory afterwards,
Uh-huh.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
I didn't do that the first time. So when you go back, Jory is like confused that Casimir picked Balthazar over her in her own words. So there's a little break coming there. I'm sorry. What do you think it is? Tell me how I'm wrong.
No relationship is perfect. You have problems. But, like, Casimir was upset because Jory didn't talk. She wasn't treating it as a relationship. She went and made a decision on her own. Just like if you were in a real relationship and somebody says, oh, hey, yeah, I quit my job and I took another job in another city. It's like,
yeah.
What? Like,
well,
you gotta, like, yeah, that's your right to make that decision, but we're in a relationship. Like, even just letting me know, like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing is sort of the thing that should be done. And as far as Jory, or feeling Casimir chose Balthazar, I don't see it that way.
But that's what she said.
That's what she feels, and I understand that. But this is Casimir's god, like one of Casimir's gods. Like, Jory is not especially religious, but I think even she's prayed to the gods at times.
Yeah, she said she was out. She said she couldn't fight Balthazar either. And that she should probably go to Casimir. But Casimir picked Balthazar over her. So it didn't sound like Jory was too happy with Casimir after all that, is what I'm saying. So my first playthrough on their relationship, it was like they made up.
Break up.
All right, well, I'm getting ahead of the story. That's fine. The first time through, I thought that they made up. The second time through, I was like, oh, wow, there's still problems. So they're stretching that out. Right? Or am I wrong? Okay.
No, there's still problems, and that is fine. That I don't understand why you're salty about them still having problems.
How am I salty? I'm not
You're
salty.
You're always salty. You are salt lick.
If you don't agree with me, you don't have the right to say I'm salty about it.
I'm just saying I'm just salty
saying
right now, but I'm just
Gallios,
saying you
what's
are
your
salty.
Me?
What do you think?
I don't watch soap operas, but I saw the same thing that you saw the second time around on the first go around.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure if I took it as anger or pain. I wasn't sure how to understand it, and honestly did not give it as much thought as you guys do.
I'm seeing it as both. I mean, there is anger and there is pain at the same time, and that's fine.
Let me just paraphrase very quickly exactly what transpired. She popped in, right? She kissed and made up, in a way. She accepted Jory's her own person, and blah, blah, blah. Then Balthazar shows up, face smacks her girlfriend, leaves her on the ground. She's like dying on the ground, doesn't know if she's dead or not. And she's just like, I'm out. Tell Jory I love her, even though she's like 15 feet away from her, and gone.
I mean, yeah, it could have been written better.
Well, a lot could have been written better. Well, if we go to that, then it makes sense to me. If it's just the bad writing, because
I don't know that it was bad writing so much as just let me speak, beard face. I don't know that it was bad writing so much as a rushed scene, which is slightly different. The dialogue was still good. I mean, all aspects about it worked. It felt a little rushed where, yeah, like you said, okay, Jory has been hurt. Casimir is in shock. I mean, just because you're not injured doesn't mean that you still can't be in shock about something. She recognizes their relationship is going through a rough patch right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean breakup. It just means there's a rough patch. They've got some things to work out with. I mean, if every relationship ended as soon as you hit a rough patch, then every relationship would always immediately end. So
I'd have been divorced a long time ago.
Yeah. So I'm fine with that. I feel that, yeah, her just taking off and Jory's still on the ground. Yeah, it's a little rush. Like, where is she going? What's going on? I can understand her. I could have understood it better if it was, yeah, I can't fight my god. I'm sorry, Commander, you're going to have to go without me. And then her just, even if it was just her sitting down on the steps right there with the medic tending Jory, I think would have been a better way to leave that instead of her just piecing out. Because where is she going? That's my question. Like, in that moment when you're in such emotional shock, you are having a rough patch, with your partner, where is her safe spot that she's going to get her mind straightened out? And that's what makes me curious. Is she going to a temple? Is she going to see a mentor? Is she going back to their house? Is she just gone ahead to go to the medic's tent? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, no. She was out. They were both in shock. So I'll give you that. And maybe it was just a hiccup because there was quite a few hiccups in the writing this time. So that's that. So
it did seem a little rushed. Some of it seemed a little rushed.
I don't think it was rushed. I think that if they gave us any more, they would have bled into what they had planned for the next living story and possibly even into the expansion. So I think they showed us what they could safely to spread it out.
I agree with that. But I think there was a way of pulling that off without it feeling rushed, and it felt rushed to me.
Well, but it was delayed a month, so they could get it right. We'll move on. So anyway, as far as I see it, I was pretty happy that they didn't drag out, who's Lazarus? Who's Lazarus? And they showed it right away. And Jory and Casimir's relationship is still kind of, I don't know, on the mend, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
To real quick for they delayed it a month to get it right comment. I'm sure the writing and the dialogue had been done way ahead of time. So that was not stuff that could have been changed or taken another month to get right. It was probably something to do with game mechanics or the map or the boss battle. That was why they delayed it. Story would have been set in stone way ahead of time because at a certain point you have to get it to the voice actors, and you have to have it by a certain deadline because if you miss that deadline, if the voice actor is sick, you need to have time to set up a makeup date. So once it's in the booth, like there is no, this is feeling rushed. Let's delay it a month to retweak it because you're not going to pay the voice actors a second time to re-record all the lines. So
okay, fair enough. All right, so then from there, Balthazar takes the machine and steps into the mist. He phases into the mist with the machine and is gone. And we're left to go back to Radisum and get on the sub, which was another Guild Wars 1 callback. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but the submarine going off into the distance was a very typical. It was in a couple of the cutscenes in Guild Wars 1 where you got on the boat and the boat sailed off and then it kind of faded to black and you went to the new area. So I thought that was pretty cool too. That's how I took it.
I think that's a cool way to take it. I didn't take it that way. I just took it as them choosing to do the cutscene that way, so that way we could travel from one map to another.
Yeah, but I think it was a callback to Guild Wars 1. I think it was a subtle callback to Guild Wars 1.
I wouldn't be surprised. I just
because
it wasn't strong enough of a callback for me to even think of it. So
that's what I immediately thought of. So we end up in Draconis Mons and we start hearing our ghostly Spirit of the Wild friends who give us special powers run around the map. I thought that was cool when the commander was, and I didn't even think of it because I was playing a Norn, so immediately it made sense to me that a Norn would call the druids Spirits of the Wild, but I guess that was the experience for everyone. So
yeah, I got really confused by that. Because when they said Spirits of the Wild, I was expecting Norn Spirits of the Wild. And then they were like, the Lost Spirits of the Wild. So I was like, oh my god, it's going to be Owl and what's the other ones that went missing in the fight? Which is the wrong part of Tyria to have them, but that's what I was thinking when it was missing Spirits of the Wild. And then it was Druids. And I got so confused.
Yeah. Owl is dead. I think that's confirmed.
Badger was the other one.
Owl, Owl is one of the lost spirits.
Badger, and I forget the other one.
One of them was confirmed dead, but the other ones, it's assumed they're dead, but nobody actually saw them die, so it's not confirmed. But when they said Spirits of the Wild, I was expecting animal Spirits of the Wild, and then it was these druid spirits. I'm like, do they not know their lore? When you say when you name one thing within lore, this is
yeah.
a spirit of the wild, and then you call something else, it's a spirit of the wild, and it's a completely different thing, but you're calling it the exact same name.
Yeah, but they cleared that up in the AMA, so they were fine. Not.
I didn't read it.
Exactly. It was a joke.
Oh.
But yeah, I took it as, since I was on a Norn, I was like, oh, well, he's mistaken them for spirits of the wild. That's what a Norn would call them, I guess. But I guess that was the same experience for all of them. And just to backtrack a little bit too, I guess from what I read on Reddit, if you played with a human character, there was absolutely no kind of emotion. It was kind of a neutral emotion to the 6, which I thought was weird because when you do character creation, you pick one of the gods to totem, I guess, and all my humans, I picked Balthazar. So I was curious. I want to go back on a human and see what they say. If there's something, if you pick Balthazar.
No, they don't. Not that I've noticed. I don't remember if I picked Balthazar. I probably did not. I probably picked Duena. But either way, it's still one of your gods. Like if you picked one, like you picked one god at the beginning, that would just infer you believe in all the gods. I mean, belief in all the gods is an important part of the human religion. Otherwise, you're a marginite.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have a feeling that was just done for the simplicity of, if we had this one specific race react differently, then that means there's going to be different lines that they're going to have to record. That means we have to have different triggers put in place. And that is more work, which I feel would have been the better option. Because, humans should have reacted more like Casimir. Yeah. There should have been more shock. In some ways, it feels like they are trying to harken back to Guild Wars 1. Like, they've been doing really good, acknowledging more of the Guild Wars 1 lore and pulling that stuff back in. And then in some ways, I'm feeling like they're so focused on looking back now that they're not paying attention to what's happening right now. The spirits of the wild being one thing. The fact that, like, humans should be shocked to having a god appear, or at least some line about, like, have them be in denial. Like, no, I refuse to accept that can't possibly be Balthazar. It's got to be another lie. And then that justifies why they're not very emotional about it. But there really wasn't anything of that sort.
Sandra just put in chat that there was a pack soldier line that said, leave the blasphemy to the commander.
Yep.
I didn't hear that, but
you have to go back in the map and run around.
Yeah.
And there is a pack soldier that says it. And I heard it and I thought that was a really good line. Because it was another soldier talking about, I don't know that I can fight the gods. What? And the other soldier is essentially saying, like, look, we're not going to fight the gods. We're going to leave the blasphemy to the commander. We're fine. We're still in their good graces. We're just doing our job kind of thing. So that was a good line.
So at this point, you run through the map, you talk to the druids, you have to, you find out that the stupid tracking device is broken, and then you have to go and find the 4 locked up druids. So you end up going to Zin's old lab, and that was it was near Arcani? Or Arcane? It was something with spiders.
Yeah. Arachnid
or something like that. Whatever it was. But once you get there, you meet Mox from Guild Wars 1. Dun, 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 dun. So that was really cool. I was happy to see that. Mox was a dervish, by the way. That's all I'm going to say. And
Mox was really cool.
Yeah.
And we get to have a conversation with him about, come with us. And then you never see him going with you.
He goes to your home instance.
He goes to your home instance.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah. Go to your home instance. He's there.
No, it's better.
The AI itself to walk off.
No.
And I didn't see any of that.
He doesn't walk off in the map, but he ends up in your home instance, and he becomes a Guild Wars 1 jukebox. But he also takes care of your cats, and he smuggles Webby. So every once in a while, Webby will pop out and say hello.
Oh, that's cute.
It is cute. You got to go check it out because there's, I want to say, 10 Guild Wars 1 songs that you could play. So now when I do my home instance farming, I go in, I start a Guild Wars 1 song, and then I go do my farming. So it was pretty cool. So Mox was a nice addition.
I approve of that. Whoever came up with that, good job.
Yeah, I liked it. And then the other cool thing that really didn't, I guess, wasn't really talked about in game or whatever, but Zin, I believe, Livia was working with Zin and stole the Scepter of War from Zin at the end of one of the dungeons.
Was that in?
That was in Guild Wars 1.
Because I remember at the end of Guild Wars 1, you see a bunch of cutscenes playing, and one of them was like Livia just finding.
Now, Zin was distracted. She was working with Zin in one of... It was either in the story or it was in one of the dungeons, and that was how they ended it, was Livia came up and picked up the Scepter of War and left. And she said several times in Guild Wars 1 that she only dealt with Zin's verbal abuse because she wanted that scepter, and she ended up getting...
No.
Yeah, she did.
No, she dealt with Zin because she was trying to get him to help with the war in Krita.
No, she said...
I'm
she was interested in
this.
Or
I'm
wiki away, girly. I remember it. I played that dungeon many, many times. Anyway, should we wait?
That's terrible.
War.
Because I know I've tweeted about her.
You can do it, Cora.
Livia used her credentials with the Asura to convince the exiled Golemancer Zin and the eccentric Blim to develop a golem that could help defeat the Mersat, using energies from the Seer.
Mm-hmm.
After the Rising of Or, Livia was still a personal bodyguard to the Monarch, held high rank. So that was, there's nothing...
There's nothing on the wiki about it, but it is in game.
Livia was seeking out the Scepter of Or, one of the several hooks that developers placed in Ogden's benediction. When asked what happened to Livia and the Scepter of Or, Rhys Orsby said she couldn't answer that, and it was important that she couldn't answer it. Let me go to the Scepters page.
It was
one of two legendary staffs. There's a picture of her, and she's sort of in the water of like a swamp, and she's all shocked, and the scepter's floating there, and she's grabbing the scepter. The Undead Lich had the scepter. Spirit weapon was spirited away before it could be destroyed by the volcano. After the defeat of the Great Destroyer, the human necromancer saw it and recovered the scepter and had it in her possession for some time. But it doesn't say she got it from Zin.
She did. It was at the end of the dungeon.
What dungeon?
I don't remember. It was the one you had to fight on a bloodstone. I think it was Zin's lab or something. I don't remember what it was, but there was a line somewhere in the game where the player character asked, "Why do you put up with his abuse?" And she said something along the lines of, "Where the scepter goes, I go," or something like that. And it's really not that bad. I can take it.
I'm looking for anything.
Yeah, Garaz. All right, so anyway.
Did Garaz quote it?
No, he said Gord 1, Cora 0.
No, Gord 0, because I can't find any proof of this.
Okay. I will take you in game.
And I'll take it,
I will take you in game. I will do the dungeon with you, and I will show you.
Good. I need to do Guild Wars 1's dungeons.
Okay, so moving on.
And then I will add it to the wiki, because I am very upset that this critical piece of lore that you say exists is not in the wiki.
Well, and not everything's in the wiki. Is there not
like in a lot of the wiki, and a lot of the wiki posts, there are lines from the game at the bottom of the page? Is there anything like that on there?
I don't remember when she said it, but did say it.
There's nothing from dungeons. There's quotes. I see battle quotes. I see dialogue.
We will go in game. I will show you.
I'm good. I would love to see this because...
Okay.
Kill two birds with one stone.
I'm like, I want to see this.
If
this is the thing.
I will get my sport ball, damn it.
So moving on. Let's move on. As we rescue all of the druids, we get 25% of a protection that will allow us to jump into the mouth of the volcano and go after Balthazar. So you jump in. There's like 3 seals that you have to break. You have to use Timey's scanner because Timey comes out all of a sudden with Scruffy 2.0 and starts following you down. So we break through all of Balthazar's barriers, which were pretty strong for somebody who didn't have energy. But I guess he did because he absorbed the bloodstone energy. So you finally get to the bottom. And as you're falling down, I have to say, I saw this huge freaking rock formation and then the little rock islands. And it wasn't until the player character said that there was an elder dragon in the room that I knew that there was an elder dragon in the room. And still, I don't know what I was looking at.
Yeah, it was kind of weird the way it just looked like lava falling over the side of a cliff with rocks sticking out of it. And apparently that was his mouth, and the teeth were the rocks. And it took me a while to even see it after I saw it. It took me a while to kind of form a picture in my head.
I still haven't seen it. I don't know if the two little things shooting out his top was his nostrils or its eyes. I think that's what threw me off. I didn't see eyes.
Yeah, I really also didn't look that close at it because it was close to the end of the cutscene when I realized what it was. Because like and I'm trying to do this in the camera and I'm not doing a very good job. Like the teeth were like this on the bottom jaw, and the lava was just pouring right through the teeth. And yeah, that's it.
Bright.
That's it.
It's bright.
Yeah.
All right, so okay.
Oh, you see his nostrils there, yeah.
That's his nostrils. Dude has a severe underbite.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say
really
the same thing.
underbite is a portion of his snout. His eyes are going to be somewhere way back over here, like.
So all we're seeing is like his mouth. That's
it. Just like the front tip of an alligator's jaws. That's all you're seeing. You're not seeing the rest of him.
I guess that makes sense. But I didn't know that there was an elder dragon in the room until the player character said it. So it was kind of weird to me. But that shaman did like a scaling game thing that he did with it. Yeah, well, it's more like you see like that much.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like this. Anyway, that shaman did a scaling thing, and he put it up on Reddit, and Primordius is utterly huge. His wingspan goes from Divinity's Reach to Ara. So he did it 3 different ways. He did it the Tequatl, Claw Jormag Shatter body type. He did it the Mouth of Mordremoth body type, and then he did one other thing.
I would have thought he would have been. I mean,
Primordius is huge.
Part of me was like, yes, Primordius should be a big one because he's Primordius. He's the first. He's the prime. The other part of me is like, he's got to be tiny though because he's underground. He's got to travel underground. Yeah. He can't have a big wingspan.
Well, he could be worm-like.
He could be worm-like, and then he's just really long.
Oh, the third type was a Quaggan body type. I think it was.
That is not conductive for traveling through lava tubes.
Well, it was still the size of Claw Island, I believe. So Primordius is absolutely huge. I would think that Primordius is the standard dragon body type, maybe with stubbier wings. We don't know if he flies or not, but I didn't know that he was there. The final fight was a little weird. I'm not sure if it was clear enough or whatever, but the way I saw it, when Balthazar was absorbing the energy and you had to hit the machine and blow the 2 energy balls out in order to be able to shoot the dogs, one was from Primordius and one was from Jormag. Because one was like reddish and the other one was whitish. So
yeah. No, I got that.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I understood that it was... Well, because that's what the machine was.
At first I didn't know.
The machine... Well, because Timmy had said, like, the machine is it's taking those 2 dragon energies and it's going to do a thing to, neutralize them or kill them or whatever. Yeah. So I understood when I saw the 2 different colors that it was representing the 2 different dragon energies.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah. I just had... That fight took me way longer than it should. One, because I use auto-targeting. Mm-hmm. The entire that whole chapter, you should not have auto-targeting on because as you're working your way down through the levels, auto-targeting wants to target the Mordrum. Not the Mordrum. It wants to target the enemy AI versus letting you target the thing that you're supposed to, the little void bubble. And then in the final battle, you can't target anything. Like, you can't place your targeting reticule on the machine. It wants to target all. It was a disaster. So once I figured that out, I turned my auto-targeting off. The next problem I also had was, do not go into that battle with your Raven Spirit Glider on. You can't see anything. No matter how far you zoom out, all you see is Spirit.
Yeah.
And so I had to switch on my engineer from the Raven Spirit to the Mersat glider, which it's a little bit of irony there. And those little black feathery things just were almost invisible, so I could actually see what I was doing.
Yeah. I'm on the Super Venture Box glider, so.
And I got the crystalline dragon wings. That's the ones I'm using. That wasn't too bad with those on. They're not obnoxious.
Yeah.
Try the fight again with the Raven Spirit glider. It's like trying it on hard mode.
I don't like that glider. Anyway.
I love that glider.
I think the glider is cool. It's just it is hard to see, but I've only seen when people are using it on videos. I've only seen videos of people using them. So, and like just watching people use them.
It's a really big glider, and it's not see-through. It's not even like the bubble glider is still sort of see-through. It's not see-through. So when you have to put the camera right above your character so that you're looking down over yourself flying, and you're trying to see, okay, I need a target on the machine in the center to get the things out, and then glide around, gather the things, and then target on the dog that's down, it just became impossible. It just became a nightmare. So I think I died. Can't even know how many times before I was like, I can't do this.
I didn't know what to do at first, and then I kind of figured it out. But I only ever scanned one dog. So I have to do that again for the achievement. So that's it. That was the end of it. I think it was I'm confused about the story. Because the story by itself absolutely sucked, in my opinion.
It seems like it came out of left field a little bit.
It was forced. It wasn't that it was short. It wasn't. The story by itself, I hated it. My initial reaction was I hated it. I wanted the 6-pack in the game. I was rooting for this and everything else. I got my wish, and it was like...
It wasn't the way you were expecting the wish to come about, right?
But I have to say, the possibilities that short story gave to the game are what I'm excited about. So depending on episode 6, it could make episode 5 much, much better.
Make more sense, yeah.
Not so much about make sense, but just make it better. It felt forced.
I mean, a big part of the problem with getting the Living Story chapters so many months apart is, you can't make all the connections that are there. Because, I mean, with any TV show, with any book you read, sometimes you get those, oh, wow, I can't believe they did that. That calls back to the other thing. That makes, and your mind gets blown. And when you have 2 to 4 months, 2 to 3 months in between, there's enough of a break between that you can forget some of what happened in the previous episode, and it just doesn't make it as big of that shock value. You don't get that immediate connection. So whereas the next chapter might, like you said, might make this one feel much better and open up those possibilities. Right now we're just left with, where did this come from?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
That's a lot of people's reaction. I decided I recorded a reaction video, and I'm not going to do this often, but I did it because I thought that I would be able to go at the end, haha, Cora, but I couldn't. It's because I love you, dear. Anyway, it was bad. It wasn't delivered well. Inks just said it. It did come from a bit from left field, but I was really surprised because a couple days after it released, Matt on Barefoot Matthew on Twitter, I don't remember his last name because I suck at names, but he had said it's really great that after a year of planning, we could start seeing people talk about these story points, and I was like, what? 1 year of planning?
I mean, that makes sense within game development world. That makes sense that. It's not like, 4 months ago they decided, hey, for this next chapter, let's do this. Like, it would have been a long time ago. Somebody would have said, hey, what if we did this? And then you send that out to the writers and the narrative designers, and people start working on it, and you start working towards that goal. And again, this was something you wanted to see. You wanted the gods in the game. You just wanted it done in a different way. So if they had done it in a different way that like you were hoping, it would have been great. And that 1 year of planning, you would have been like, yay, it paid off. But because it was done in a way that it felt rushed, felt like it was coming out of left field, we're all sort of just left scratching our heads going, what?
I think I said this already, but Ink said it in chat that they didn't deliver it well. And I agree with that 100%. They could have done it differently. But I think I'm still kind of thinking that if they showed any more, they would give away too much. Like, I feel like as soon as we see what's happening in episode 6, we're going to know pretty much what the main plot point of the expansion is going to be. And they didn't want to give that to us yet, which makes sense.
Here's my thing. Season 1 Living Story, they were doing the 2-week cadence, but it had a story that went from the first chapter to the end. There was an arc. There was a connection through all of it. Even if things were rushed, even if there was some missing polish, it was one solid story arc following one solid plot. Season 2, they slowed the cadence down, and you still had one plot arc, one solid plot arc. Things were more polished. It was getting good. We were heading into Heart of Thorns. Season 3, they've slowed the cadence down even more. Polish is better. Plot is, in Knitter's term, it's yarn vomit. It's just this knotted, like I'm sitting there pulling at the strand going like how do I untangle this? Like there's no straight line for me to follow. And it's not saying that any of the individual stories are bad or shouldn't have been told. There was aspects to all of them that I could tell you this is why I like them, and aspects to all of them where I can say this is where I don't like them. But the problem is it doesn't feel like a cohesive Living Story season 3. It feels like here's a chapter that one team worked on and here's a chapter that another team worked on, and nobody at any point said what the overarching line was. Like you could almost play any of the chapters out of order and they're all standalone episodes. It still more or less makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a problem. If you can read 4 or 5 chapters of a book out of order and still pretty much, yeah, this is what's happening. I had a mentor that said the reason why soap operas work is because you can be busy and you can tune in and you can catch up on what's going on in any episode. You can walk away for months at a time, come back, and still know exactly what's happening with the characters. And at this point, it feels sort of like that soap opera style of writing. Like, you can tune into any chapter, you can walk away, and Jorge still has amnesia. Oh no, wait, now it's Diego's wife is pregnant with her sister, transgender brother-in-law's cousin's baby daddy. It doesn't have that cohesive. It doesn't feel like a season. It feels like a episodic soap opera.
It's split. And I have a feeling that this is what's coming in the future. They were telling many stories in this season. So if you separate episode 1 and 4, that was Quaticus's story, which had an ending. So that's like the minor plot. The major plot is the 6 now, obviously. And the superior plot is the dragons. My initial reaction, and I think we talked about this before. This was episode 19 of the podcast, I think, or 20, where we talked about if the Elder Dragons mattered, because this idea was actually seeded probably almost a year ago by Wooden Potatoes, where he was talking about it, where, hey, maybe we should get away from the dragons. I think ultimately what they're doing with this story is, and Romo, you might want to plug your ears for this, because if this is what they're doing, Mo is an absolute genius. What I think they're doing is they're going to start running 3-4 storylines where they're going to have minor stories that they can tell, where they can reach back into the archive from Guild Wars 1 and throw that in. Major, which is going to be, we'll say, the odd expansions. So the next expansion is going to be a major story plot. It's not going to be about the dragons. The superior storyline is going to be the dragons. What I think they're setting up is we're going to possibly fight a dragon. We know we're looking at more frequent expansions. And it came up in the AMA, and I didn't hear a lot of people talk about this, but when Mo said the 2 to 3 month cadence thing, he said episode 5, episode 6, expansion, chapter 1. So insinuating, and we talked about it last week, insinuating that season 4, chapter 1 is coming 2 to 3 months after the expansion. So I think in this next expansion that's coming up, we're going to have to deal with the plight of the gods, because I'm not even calling them gods, the Six. Because the Six are going to, oh my God, stop rolling your eyes. You're killing me. The Six need help. What I think we saw was Balthazar was cast out. He's gone. He wants revenge on the other 5. We're going to fight Balthazar. We're going to help the other 5 destroy Balthazar. And wait for it, Ritlock is going to ascend to become one of the 6. That's what I think. That's going to kind of mend the Char's view on the 6. I'm going to mute your camera. That's going to bring the Char into the 6. So now the Char get over their thing, because the 6 have to replace the dragons. I'm looking at chat, and it's like... So then during that time, the sub story that's going to start playing out into season 4 is going to be, how do we take care of the dragons? Well, that's going to be, okay, now we have these powerful entities. There just happens to be 6 of these guys. And yeah, I know. I'm hoping I'm wrong about Ritlock, but I think that's what it's going to be.
I don't think you're correct. I think you're wrong.
Well, you never do.
I could be wrong. It's my lot in life to be your.
There's a reason she was drawn to us, or at least to our show.
I am the yin to your yang, and he is the squiggly line. Wasn't that what we said in the last episode? We've got a little baby dragon who can replace one of the dragons.
That's the other thing.
Or one of the
gods.
We
have 2. We have Gleam, and we have so that's the other kind of strand theory I have.
A baby dragon.
Well, Gleam is out there. So Gleam's out there in lore.
Hopefully.
So the other way that they could go is that now we take Gleam and Aurene and we replace Zaitan and Morgemoth with them. But how does that make sense? Because even if we have a direct bearing on how Aurene gets raised, that's one dragon. There's still 4 dragons that just want to eat us. Gleam has been around for 250, 300 years. And he's watched all these silly things that happened, the war between the Char and the humans, and all these other certain things that happen and how people retreated or whatever. Gleam may have come to the conclusion. She?
I think it was a she. Yeah.
I don't think the dragons have a gender, but
well, I mean, in the game they give them a gender when they refer to most of them with he's.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah,
I've never noticed.
And Glint is a she.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So, but anyway, Gleam is the wild card. It could have gone anyway. It could hate all of the races and go back, but we still have 4 huge elemental dragons that want to just eat Tyria and everything on it. So I don't think that's likely. I think what's more likely is, just back to the story real quick, I think what's likely is we're going to get one minor storyline with the major storyline that runs with it. That's going to be the odd expansion. So if we count, the even expansions, we'll say. So expansion 2, expansion 4 is going to be the smaller story, where the odd expansions are going to be dragon expansions. That gives them 2 years to work on a dragon expansion. It's probably easier, I would imagine, to get some of the smaller scale fights out, which I see in a major. And then you have a minor storyline that you can open and close, or reintroduce and close in the living story. I think that's where they're going. Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'm like trying to figure out, where do I start? Okay. So we have Aurene is one dragon. We have Gleam out there. And I don't see Gleam as being evil, because Glint was alive for all those years until fairly recently. So she could have raised Gleam to be like, look, you're going to be the next one to help protect the world. But you also kind of got to hide from the big crystal one who still wants to eat our faces. So I feel like Gleam is still in hiding. and that's fine. So I feel like we should have a story, and I hope they make one where we go find Gleam and just like changing the fuses, you know, plug this dragon in here and plug this dragon in over there. Okay, that's gotten things balanced back out. We also have, there are other dragons within lore. You go to Kantha, you have Kudavang.
Well, but where you would have to assume that Kudavang is a lieutenant of Steve McBubbles.
Which is nothing. It could be.
That's
yes.
going to be retcon, I think.
I mean, it would have to be. Just because it's a lieutenant, one, doesn't mean you can't make it work. Mm-hmm. Glint was a champion and was purified and became a good dragon. If Kudavang is evil lieutenant, we can purify, make it a good dragon. It could have already broken free and been doing its own thing. It could have not been a lieutenant. You've got these three. If you got the 6 elder dragons, well, where did they come from? Like, were they the first dragons, or were there other ones and you kind of got to fight your way to the top? So maybe Kudavang is just like, yeah, I'm just going to peace out over here and let you guys do your thing over on the Tyrian continent and have fun trying to kill each other.
Yeah. The only issue I have with all of that is you still have 4 elemental dragons. You were able, Forgotten were able to purge Glint, but that's a small dragon compared to a dragon that is millennia old. So yeah. I think that just takes the dragons out. They just have to be replaced. Gallios was putting something into chat. What were you saying, Gallios?
No, I just had a train of thought not long ago about how much we've been seeing the Mesmer style in game. And I kept thinking to myself, who better to pull off a complete ruse of all of it than Kralkatorrik? Now, what his plan for putting Primordus back to sleep was, or releasing Primordus, I don't know. But I just thought that was a kind of a trail I thought I might theorize about.
I like it.
The only issue I have is if the dragons are not going to be destroyed and they're going to remain in the magic process, because all that happened is all the magic is out in Tyria. Magic is at its peak state. It's at its highest state that it's going to get at. It's not going to get any more powerful, and that's why the dragons woke up. So all we're doing is interfering with the natural process where the dragons absorb all the magic back and bring it back down to a near zero magic state. So if that happens, ArenaNet's going to have kind of a small problem with how the elite specs work and everything else within lore, because the reason why Guild Wars 2 characters are so much more powerful than Guild Wars 1 characters is because the way the magic is right now. So in my opinion, the remaining Elder Dragons have to go. It's like, I don't know, they're too far gone. I don't see how you can reach them. They are capable of thought, but for them to be like, for Kralkatorrik to be like, hey, I'm just going to sit here and in the Crystal Desert and I'm going to manipulate people from afar. Why wouldn't he just create a crap ton of minions like he did in Edge of Destiny to just take everything out?
Because he's battling Palo Ojoko.
I don't think that's...
I mean, that could be. It could be he's battling Palo Ojoko and he's trying to take control of Alona.
I think it's more likely that Palo Ojoko would align himself with Kralkatorrik if he could.
I mean,
kind of a Sons of Svanir type
possible,
deal.
But I don't know that Kralkatorrik would go for that. I feel like Kralkatorrik would just eat damn Lynch does. That's true, but that's Dormag. There's nothing to say that Kralkatorrik would or that Palo Ojoko's ego would allow for that, because he's kind of got a bit of an ego. There was one other thing I just thought of, because it's true. Technically, the Pale Tree is a dragon champion. The Pale Tree was supposed to is a consciousness of Mordramoth. Mordramoth was the jungle, didn't necessarily have a form like the other dragons. So technically, the Pale Tree is a dragon. That could be another option for absorbing magic if they can figure out a way to do it.
Well, the characters absorb magic. The player characters do the unbound magic.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if we're talking about replacing dragons, then that means we've got Aurene, we've got Gleam, and we add the Pale Tree as another dragon.
Well, so Aurene as a probably 1-year-old dragon now? Well, 2, because she hatched in Heart of Thorns, or at the end.
Towards the end.
So a year. So Aureen's a year old.
The other
she's
thing
not
is we
going
don't
to be
know
able to absorb that magic.
We don't know how fast she's going to grow. We don't know how fast dragons mature. I mean, if you look at kittens, a kitten goes from being born to 5 weeks later is running around being all crazy and pouncing, and then, in a year is fully grown.
No, that's true, but you can kind of judge from Glint, because Glint was at a certain size. She was not even as big as the Shatterer in Guild Wars 1, and she was probably already 1,000 years old at that point.
But it could have been the growth is connected to consuming magic, though. If you go, there's not a lot of magic, there's not a lot of food resources. I mean, think about, I'm using a lot of animals as an example, and I'm just going to go with it at this point in the night. I had a betta fish, a little tiny betta fish, and I kept it in a tiny little fish tank. And then at some point I put it in a bigger fish tank, and the thing started to grow once it was in the bigger fish tank. It grows to its environment. And also, if it's got the food, it'll continue to grow. So it's possible dragons work that way. Without the space to grow, without the food to grow, they stay small. Glint stayed in a tiny grain of sand. There's not a whole lot of room for her to grow and get big. Maybe there are pygmy dragons. Thank you, One Big Pair. Maybe there are pygmy dragons.
Okay, that's fine, but that is a lot of work to try and sell in a story just to undo what you decided to do when you set out to make the game. The dragons were and should remain the main protagonist in the game.
No, I agree with you. I'm not saying I don't.
They're supposedly the most dangerous thing that anybody in Tyr has ever faced, and blah, blah, blah.
When did I say that I didn't agree with that? I think that should be the main story for Guild Wars 2.
So then we have to kill him.
Yeah, I never said that we didn't.
According to Timey's simulation, there's 6 orbs.
Yeah.
If you take something too much out of the orbs, the
central
orb blows up. So what are you going to put back into the orbs?
You put in Aureen, and you put in Gleam, and you put in the Pale Tree, and then you figure out what are the other 3 that you plug in.
No, I don't buy that. I don't think that works.
Why?
Why would they go that route to put these small young characters in
Balthazar
when they have the 6 who already have dominion over magic? They gave magic to humans in Guild Wars 1. They can take away magic as they want. They can absorb magic the same way that the dragons do. So why would it not be the 6?
Because I don't want it to be.
That's where I'm at. So anyway, I have to say, and Roman, plug yours again. This is not a shot at Colin. I love Colin Johansson. He did a great job while he was here, but we have a new game director. And where I am leaning to now, and you could say what you want about Mo for his communication and everything else, I think what Mo has brought in the story, what we're going to see going forward, Mo has brought a direction which has been lacking since this game launched. And you're going to see the story progress a lot more, and you're going to see a lot of cool stuff. And for that, I think Mo should be complimented.
I think, yes, you're right. A lot of cool things are happening. We're seeing a lot more storylines, which is interesting. But for me, this still feels the most disjointed out of all the Living Story seasons we've had. Because
you're looking at the edges of the puzzle. That's all you're looking at. Maybe 2 lines of the edge of the puzzle. And episode 6 is going to give us a little bit more, and the expansion is going to finish the picture. And then we go next.
I hope so.
It has to be. If it doesn't go that way, they just killed the game.
It just feels so... Like, I was happy to see us resolve the Codicus storyline, even though all these years I thought that would have been like a longer, like an entire Living Story season to work through, instead of... I mean, it was done over 2 chapters, but it was like half a chapter each one, it felt like. So, like, in one chapter, essentially, we fought and resolved Codicus. Like, okay, why not?
Yeah.
And then, okay, now we're over here for Bram, and now we're over here to check on Aureen, and now we're over here back to Codicus, and now we're over here in Fire Island to... Like, it just felt like we're bouncing all over, literally all over the world, versus a natural, like, our character traveling from one place to the next to the next. It was literally bounce, 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 bounce,
Yeah.
bounce. Thank God for waypoints.
But I want to address Romo in chat now. It did take 9 months too long, and people would still praise hot if they addressed stuff right away. That was under Colin's regime. The change that we saw in the living story came from Mo. And what I'm seeing now is this different style of storytelling. We know for a fact in 2016, NCSoft said that they were going to combat Guild Wars 2's low sales performance by releasing more frequent expansion packs. And that's what I think they're doing, is giving themselves probably 2 years, or maybe even it's going to be 18 months between expansions. And I think every other one is going to be a dragon. And the ones in between are going to be a smaller but bigger story plot that's going to be introduced, that's going to reach back to the 27 plot holes that they have. And if that's the direction that Mo has given this game, it's genius. And he has to be applauded for that.
I agree. And maybe some of it is that I was used to season 1, season 2, which was the one story arc. And that if this is the way it's going to be going, then I just have to get used to that change of how they're telling a story. And so some of that is going to be on me. I do overall feel like everything is going in a much better direction. And it was nice to see Guild Wars 1 lore come back in. It was nice to see storylines getting wrapped up instead of feeling like more storylines are getting dropped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but all those drop storylines are going to be the material for these in-between things. When we Malik's not big enough. Malik's story's over. Malik was there to prove that there were other trees, I believe.
Malik was supposed to be there in Heart of Thorns and got cut.
Was. You're right. Absolutely right. But I don't see any need to go back to Malik.
I
really
feel
don't.
like
He
could be
served his
done in a
purpose.
I just feel like people like fractals. Why not add in a few new fractals and make one of them show what happened to Malik? I just don't see why they can't do that. Because it's not like you have to do it as a whole living story or take away a whole chapter of the living story to resolve. And, oh, why are we going back to the jungle? Just do a fractal. Do a fractal.
Fractal's too small. I think you're more likely to see that in a raid wing. They did it with Saul.
I feel like that's too big. Like, there's no reason to have.
Yeah, but Malik's story was about the same
going
size.
back into the jungle.
But Malik's story was about the same size as Saul Delasios. It was just Saul's was open.
I know. Gallios, you need to speak up. Tell him you agree with me.
Honestly, it's going here through here, but I am sad about the Malik story, because after reading about Malik, I thought it was interesting. Do I think that they're going to do anything with it?
No.
I know.
They're
not. They're not going to do anything with it. I don't even think it'll make it to a raid wing.
It will show up somewhere. Even if it's a different raid wing, he might show up in there.
I don't see them doing it as a raid wing.
I don't see
I don't see them doing it at all.
I don't know how they would set it up as a raid wing and who would be the baddie. Because I don't know if you would make Malik the baddie in that case. You'd have to be the baddie. Yeah. Because I think when he disappeared, he was going off to fight the baddies and defend his own tree, maybe? I don't know.
But his tree became a blighting pod.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like it's one of those things where the fractals almost feel they're short stories, or they're flash fiction. They're giving you just a little glimpse at a piece of lore, and you're not seeing what came before, you're not seeing what came after necessarily.
Isn't that just as bad, though?
Huh?
Isn't that just as bad, though?
No, not necessarily, because I know you didn't like it, but I liked seeing what caused the Thermonova reactor to blow up. I think they should still go back and do your Abaddon fractal. I don't see why they can't do. I mean, I'm not saying there should be tons of new fractals, because it's still a lot of work to design the fractal, to design the story, to do the voiceover, but they're popular, and we're not seeing a lot of new fractals go into the game since fractals came into the game. So why not say, okay, with every living story, every living season, here's one new fractal. It doesn't have anything to do with the living story seasons, because fractals don't have anything to do with anything. I mean, look at the cliff fractal.
It would be fun. It would be fun for it to be one of those side stories, almost like an adventure where you kind of go off on something not even relevant to the storyline right at this point. It would be like one of those little, like, hey, you come across like Gord had mentioned it once before, and this would be a perfect way to segue into it. You come across a headstone in the middle of nowhere.
I said you trip over his body, check his wallet, and it says Malik. That's what
I
said.
whatever,
I
something like that. But that's what I mean. It could be a headstone. It could be his freaking wallet.
I don't see anybody building a shrine for a Sylvari.
What I mean is it could start that process where you could start a separate adventure from there. Just somewhere to go, just for folks who want to find out. Because honestly, I'd like to know. I'd really like to know what happened to him. Simply because when Cora mentioned Malik, I did not pay attention close enough in the story the first time around. I went back and looked it up in the wiki and started reading about it. And I thought, you know what? This is a pretty interesting story. I'd like to see where it goes, but I don't think it's going to happen. And if they were to make it happen, it should be something, to me, something like a side tangent.
Yeah.
That they could go on. Something simple, like an adventure.
Yeah.
Like you can choose to go on it or not,
No, that's raids.
No, that's not a raid. That's not a raid.
It might not be. I don't think it's enough to make a raid. I don't think it's enough to make it a raid wing. But
no, it's not a raid. And to me, I mean, in my opinion,
there has
it's not
to be
a
more
raid.
story
It's just
told.
you could make it a raid if you have this big giant
you
thing
can make
going
anything
on. But who's the bad guy?
I don't feel like it should be a raid. Like, why would we go back to the jungle dragon stuff in a raid? Like, that doesn't make any sense. In a fractal, you have a small contained story. Like, here is a little snippet of time that happened during the assault on the jungle. Like, your face right now, I do not like.
I just don't care about Malik. I just don't.
I know
I can
you
live
don't.
without
so
it.
you don't have to play the fractal, but I would actually want to go play that fractal.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's more of it's another draw to bring people into raiding.
Yeah. So anyway,
there's no draw to bring me into raiding.
There is.
Anyway, what do we have left?
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, the story was short. There's not much to talk about.
Yeah. Well,
I've
talked
seen
for
people
over
say
2 hours, so we had plenty to talk about.
I see people saying that this was the best, most epic living story chapter ever, and I don't agree. I think the chapter by itself was not very good, but the possibilities that it opened up are really good. So
yeah, no, I agree with that. I still liked it better than the Bitter Frost chapter. I'm sorry, I keep like looking around my room because something smells like smoke, and I keep looking like, am I on fire?
No, I would tell you.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to shut my window. Maybe somebody's barbecuing or something. I liked it better.
Barbecue.
It's not a good barbecue. I liked it better than the Bitter Frost chapter.
I like Bloodstone Fen better than I like this story.
I did like Bloodstone Fen better than I liked this one. No, I did not. Romo. I wanted.
That's messed up.
Dang, Romo.
Oh, that's what you meant. I thought you meant something else. I mean, maybe I am on fire. Who knows? I liked it. I liked it for the potential, like you said, but on its own, it just sort of felt like, wait, what? And so maybe right before the next chapter comes out, I will replay it and then go immediately into the next chapter and see if that changes my feelings about this one.
Well, the next chapter is going to be Ritlock centric. It has to be, or at least building up to something with Ritlock, because I know where we're going next. Some of you don't. I know where we're going next, and it's like I said, they had to pull off a M. Night Shyamalan twist to get us there, which they just
now
did.
Are we talking M. Night Shyamalan The Signs, or are we talking M. Night Shyamalan Avatar?
It wasn't whatever his worst movie. Yeah, Avatar. Whatever his worst movie was. Whatever the twist was forced. It was just forced, and I've read a lot of people call it, what is it, Deus Ex Machinima. Before this chapter came out, I thought that Deus Ex was a video game. I didn't know it was like a writing
Deus Ex
thing.
Machina.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah, when God enters and saves the day, essentially.
Well, that didn't happen.
God from the machine.
Yeah, that didn't happen because the dragons are just sleeping. So they're still there. There's still a problem. And
well, no. I mean, like the Deus Ex Machina is if that's what you've done, that's a bad thing. Like it's not.
But a lot of people are saying that's what this chapter was, and I don't think it was because it didn't solve anything. Nothing was solved.
I think what they're saying is what my fear was at the start was, and every time that you have brought the gods up, this was where I was like, I don't want the gods to come in for this reason. I don't want them to be a Deus Ex Machina. I don't want the gods to just come in and be like, oh, looks like you've been having some problems. Poof, poof, no more dragons. We solved that for you.
Well,
carry on. Like, I don't want that to happen. It should, the solution to the dragons should come from the players.
The six.
The player characters.
The six are helping the players are helping the six so that they can replace the dragons. That's what's happening. And I know you don't like it, but that's what's happening. That's the only thing that makes sense. If they go anywhere else,
that's where it's Deus Ex Machina.
But it's not because
that is exactly what it is. It's the gods solving the problem.
But they're not going to solve the problem because I think what's going to happen is they can't intervene. They still can't come to Tyria, and there's a lot of theories out there that the dragons weakened the six and broke their connection, and I think that's kind of true. Somehow Balthazar got here. And another popular theory on Reddit is that Cormyr never went to the mist with the six. She stayed on Tyria, and she is the one who's masterminding all this stuff, getting us to the jungle and all this stuff. And I like that theory. How Balthazar would have got here, maybe because he was excommunicated from the gods or from the six.
But that's not how they excommunicate. Yeah. They send you to the underworld. But like when they excommunicated Abaddon, they punted his butt down
to the
south.
Underworld. Yeah, they could have, but because of the magic being in the state that it is, it's weakened the walls. We don't even know if it's Balthazar because, the guy that showed up, I'm sure it is Balthazar, don't get me wrong, but the guy that showed up, they showed his face. Nobody's ever seen his face. That could be somebody wearing Balthazar's getup.
Yeah, and
could be
part
Menzies.
of the thing... Yeah, part of the thing is, like, we're not supposed to be able to look on the gods without going blind and losing our minds.
I think that's prolonged, though. I think that's kind of... That was
that's
established
how
through,
Malachor carved the statues of the gods, because, he had to look upon the gods to make the statues, but he eventually went blind. But not before he and Dwayna made a little baby god.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is possible for a while to look upon the gods, but yeah... This didn't look like any sort of being that would, after prolonged exposure, would make us go blind. Well, he's weakened. Well, we do, and to what you were saying about the veil between where the gods are and our world being weakened, we do know Temple of Ages, because of the events of Guild Wars 1, where players were constantly traveling from the Temple of Ages to go fight in the battles and whatnot. That's what causes the portal rifts that you see in... oh God, what is that? The what's that part of the map called where you fight the big shadow?
Fissure what?
No, it's above the Temple of Ages in the swamp. Somebody help me out here. I can't think.
Oh, the Shadow Behemoth.
The Shadow Behemoth. All those portals, all the shades coming through, the Shadow Behemoth itself. That's all caused from Guild Wars 1, all of that teleporting through the veil. It weakened the veil in that area. And you see some of the portals that happen elsewhere in the world are, again, because of the weakened veil. So there could be a connection right there, which
Well, I have one more tin hat theory. And Gallios, you might want to plug your ears for this one.
Can I just take my ears off?
So I think that they chose Balthazar as a fallen god because when we kill Balthazar, they'll be able to stop WW. That's how they're going to close WW. That's the big change that's coming. Because we're in the mist because of Balthazar. The war in the mist was for Balthazar. Supposedly.
It makes sense, but it would suck.
That's how they're gonna kill WW finally. They've been bleeding it slowly for 4 years, so this is how it's gonna die.
That would suck.
Tin hat, total tin hat. I hope it's not true. I do enjoy WW, but
There would be a lot of outrage.
there would. That's my.
That would be
that's
one of
my
those
joke.
things that would probably make me quit
/ sarcasm.
because I like
Yeah.
I like it. So yeah, I would probably quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they could do that because
It was a joke. Let's
yeah.
be, let's
No,
be
no, no, I
clear,
was
it's
just
not going to
saying, like,
happen.
I don't think they could do that because you don't take content out of a game like this. Like you add content, you don't take content out.
It would be kinder to just take WW out back behind the shed and just put her down at this point, in my opinion.
No.
It's Raid's fault.
She's got mange. She's got worms. She's a little beat up. She needs a trip to the vet. Get her dewormed, deloused. Give her a new haircut, and she'll be good to go.
Hold on. Let me see if I can do this because there is a very cool post on Reddit. And if you follow Reddit, you know which one I'm talking about. I'm going to see if I can screen share it.
To anybody, I don't play World versus World, so I can't say that it's as bad as they're saying.
I'm the only Huckleberry.
But I'm just saying, when your favorite dog or cat develops mange, you don't immediately go and shoot it. You take it to the vet.
Nope, it's just like Old Yeller.
You dip it in the chemical bath
just
to make
like
it feel
Old
better.
Yeller. Take him out back and shoot him. Where the hell is it? Come on. Oh, here it is. All right. So let me see if I can screen share this guy. Put that over there. Yes. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I saw that one. I thought that was pretty funny. That was somebody shared it on Twitter. That was actually pretty good.
I love it. It's so freaking awesome.
It's funny.
So awesome. All right. So anything else anybody want to bring up? Talk about? Beat?
Nope. Actually, probably will get in trouble if I don't close out soon.
All right. So yeah, that's it. Everything is really hinging on this next Living Story chapter and next expansion. But I think it's going to be good. I have faith. I have faith. And I am congratulating Mike O'Brien right now because I think I see his plan and his vision. And at that point, good job, Mike. Good job. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. I love it when you mosh, Cora. And we're back.
I miss our actual breaks because that's when I would go to the bathroom.
No breaks now.
I do miss our long breaks. Yeah, that was great.
No breaks now. All right, Gallios, we have any shout outs?
Actually, I do have a couple of shout outs, and one of the shout outs is going to be to, of course, we kind of mentioned it earlier, is going to be the token for the wonderful, cool gifts that you sent to us. But I also got a special request from someone in Discord. Dystopia said that he won't be able to watch the show, but that he was hoping he'd be able to watch in post. And to probably the chagrin of many, he asked me to do a Boudreaux and Thibodeau joke.
Oh, there you go, buddy.
So I have since pulled up a Boudreaux and Thibodeau joke, and I shall do it in character if you wish it.
Yeah, and you'll do a much better job than I did.
All right. So Boudreaux and Marie, they got married. Boudreaux was a man about town, so to speak, but Marie, she was real naive and uninformed about the birds and the bees. So Boudreaux was a poor working guy and couldn't afford to take time off for a honeymoon. So that night they retired to his little shack. But when Boudreaux was undressing, Marie said, "Mais Boudreaux, what is that?" So Boudreaux said, "Marie, I'm the only man in the world with one of these." And then he proceeded to show her what it was for. And Marie got real happy. So the next morning, Boudreaux went off to work as usual, and when he got home that evening, Marie was on the front porch, and she was kind of upset about something. So Boudreaux said, "May, what's wrong, Marie?" She said, "May Boudreaux, you told me that you was the only man in the world with one of those, and I saw Thibodeau, the gardener, changing his clothes behind the shed. May he got one of them too." So thinking real quick, Boudreaux said, "May Marie, Thibodeau is my very best friend." And he said, "I had two, so I gave him one. And he's the only other man in the world with one of those." So Marie, not being too smart, she accepted the answer, and, they did that thing again last night. And Boudreaux went off to work the next morning, and when he returned home, Marie was real pissed off. She was tapping her foot to beat the drum at the porch. So Boudreaux said, "May Marie, what's the matter now?" She said, "I just got one thing to say to you, Boudreaux. May you done gave Thibodeau the best one." So that was for you, Dystopia, just for you in character, buddy. Hope I didn't disappoint. And that's all the shout outs I got. No shout outs on iTunes. We haven't had enough time, I guess.
No, that's all right.
I'm crying.
I wasn't going to tell that one because it was so long, but I laughed my butt off when I read it the first time.
It was one of the better ones.
All right, Cora, any shout outs?
I was going to shout out for the thank you for the gift because I love my Lissa's mirror. So I'm just like Gallios in that. Thank you so much for my gift. And thank you to Kit because Kit saw me post about I can't wait to get home so I can buy Lissa's mirror and was like, "Hey, so did you get the thing yet?" And I was like, "Somebody already gifted it to me, but thank you." So thank you, Kit. And then I didn't write the name down of who gave me the gold, but thank you for gold because it was much appreciated. And thank you, Gord, for still sending me dies, even though they're all common, so I think I already have them, but I sell them on the trading post, and it's nice because it gets me a little bit more money.
I sent you a rare.
You did send me a rare recently, and I didn't have it, so I unlocked it. So thank you.
No problem.
You're helping me with the fashion wars, so
I support the fashion wars.
It is much appreciated. So,
all right. So I don't have any shout outs per se. I have an anti shout out.
Oh. But now, let me just preface this with. Remember when your mother taught you as a child, if you can't say anything nice, and I know you don't remember that because this whole show is based off of you mostly not saying anything nice. So, but just remember, listener friendly.
Trying to be listener friendly, I just want to say people on Reddit need to calm down and stop with silly shit posts.
Language, Gord.
I can say shit post. It's 2 words. When I started reading the earnings, it just was like, my God, really? Like everybody became an MMO expert. There's a bunch, like Reddit is just like, you can't have 2 sides of a conversation. I made a comment in one of the threads, just kind of as a joke about Dragon's Watch. And somebody actually said they have a mini. So yes, they're in Dragon's Watch, and I said so because they made a mini that you can buy in game. That's the only requirement for Dragon's Watch because nobody's really joined. How many people have been in Dragon's Watch and evolved? Timey and the commander. That's it. So I don't know. That's what you're laughing at.
Okay.
What's the face? I enjoy reading Reddit, and people are making it unenjoyable. I guess that's what I'm saying.
It's the internet.
But it's not the same. It's different. There's a group of people, and they're not organized or anything, but I call them the Quag and Care Bear Coalition. Because if you say anything negative on Reddit, they just jump on you, downvote you, tell you you're wrong, have no real facts. It's just like the Guild Wars 1 fanboys, too. Everybody's got to relax and just let discussion flow and chill out.
Or be like me and just let Gord talk and just roll your eyes back into your head.
It was better when I couldn't see you. That's
You're
my
the one who wanted
anti-shout
to do
out.
a period.
Gord, you might not have been able to see her, but I could see those eyes rolling in the back of her head through the microphone.
I can too.
The whole time.
And I hope somebody just runs in the room once and just slaps her on the back so they get stuck there.
I live alone.
All right, so that's it. So live shows in the future, we're going to try and do live shows when we can. It's very tough for me. I was off today, so I didn't have to work, but working 2 jobs and finding the right time to do it, and plus editing and everything else takes way too long. So we will do a couple more. I want to do live one this time because I knew it wasn't going to be working. We'll try and do them when we can, but for now, they're not going to be too consistent. But hopefully later on in the year, after I get married in October, we can start doing a little more regular.
Still trying to work on that trip, buddy.
Yeah.
The invitation is on my refrigerator door.
Tell mama. Open bar.
Yeah. Rock that.
All right. So, Gallios, where can the good people get in touch with you?
At Gallios_GW2 on Twitter. They can also get me in-game at Gallios.8142. And if you subscribe to our Discord channel, I am Gallios #3334. And I want to thank everybody for coming out and watching us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was fun.
All right. Cora, where can the good people get in touch with you?
You can find me on Twitter at Guild Lores. You can also find me on Instagram at Guild Lores and Discord at Guild Lores and Twitch at Guild Lores. Basically, go to any social media, look for Guild Lores, and it's going to be me.
Awesome. All right. So if you want to get in touch with the show, you can reach us at sotdpodcast@gmail.com. And you can follow us on Twitter at SOTD_podcast. If you want to get in touch with me, you can follow me on Twitter at Gord the Norn. You can reach me on Discord at Gord #4133. And you can always reach me in game at Gord.8654. Great show. Thanks for everybody coming out tonight and make it chat fun and hang with us through the end.
You hear my tap, 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 tap. I just realized my mic was still open.
MySpace is not a thing, Cora. It's not a thing. It hasn't been a thing.
I didn't think it's a thing because I'm not on it. So apparently Inks needs to update their social media skills. Yeah. I'm not on Snapchat. I know Snapchat's really big. I'm not on the Snapchat.
You're not missing anything.
Awesome.
All right, so that's going to do it for the show. Say goodnight, guys.
Good night,
guys.